question that came up recently is, what do I do if I get audited? What's the next steps? I want to preface that with, within our client base, we really only see 1 or 2 audits every couple of years. We do not see a lot of clients being audited. In that context, though, when we do see it, it's usually a pointed place in a tax return. The IRS is going after a specific line item or a specific situation, not a blanket audit. The days of blanket audits went away in the 90s. So now it's usually a very specific pointed area that the IRS is looking at. We've even, in the last 10 years, we had 2 clients that were audited, believe it or not, for training purposes. And it was very hard to sit with a client in a conference room across from an IRS agent and their manager, and the manager saying, this is for training purposes, I'm going to leave now, and you guys can train my auditor. Our client about flipped, and to be frankly honest, I don't blame her. I about flipped too, but that's what we were handed. So anyway, what I want to address, or what we want to address today, is Alex, what happens when you get a notice that you're going to be audited?
So yes, what happens when you get the notice? You're going to see a very fancy letter. It's going to say, hey, you are under audit. Congratulations. No, it doesn't say congratulations. And what should you do? Well, the first thing you do is take a breath. Okay, it's not the end of the world. It's just what happens. You got selected for whatever reason. Take a breath. They didn't pick you for. It's going to be for some random reason. Almost always just a random reason they picked you. So just take a breath, then send the notice to us. So we've dealt with many audits. We've dealt with enough audits, and usually audits are very rare for any single taxpayer. Mm-hmm. But for tax professionals like us, we deal with the IRS all the time. We deal with audits all the time. So it's not a rare occurrence, rare instance for us. In this context, again, we don't get audited often, but that's what I mean. So send the notice to us, and we'll send a power of attorney. We'll get in contact with the auditor, and we'll take it off your plate, which I think is one of the biggest things that we can do. We can take that mental load off of you, that worry, and we'll deal with it. We deal with the IRS all the time. That's our profession. That's what we do. And that's what we do.
Yes.
In our experience, different audits, like Dan said, target different line items, maybe 1 or 2 line items, and the path to completing these audits is never narrowly defined. So it's pretty specific. It depends. It's our favorite answer in the tax world. It depends, and it really does depend on audits. Like, do they just want to see documentation for one line item to support the expense? Do they want to see, maybe some general ledger? They want to see bank statements and comb through your bank statements. It really just depends. So the path to completion is not defined. So we can't say, oh, just give us the audit notice, we'll get it done in 3 months. That's just not what happens. It's going to depend on what they're looking at.
And it also depends on the IRS auditor on the other side, right?
Correct.
We have had many occasions over the years where the auditor that was assigned to the case, that was assigned to take care of it, moved on. We've had auditors quit. We've had auditors get reassigned to different departments, and you can't control that.
Yep. So the path to completion, it is, it's kind of random.
It's undefined.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And another thing to think about is when there's a multi-item audit and they're looking at multiple different
specific items they're after. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That there could be some give and take. I've seen auditors kind of give up on certain issues, or not give up, but they'll give it to the taxpayer and say, hey, okay, I'm not really going to focus on this one. I really care about this issue. Mm-hmm. And auditors are people too, mm-hmm. and they're reasonable. I've never seen an auditor really pound down into every issue and not budge. Again, it's negotiable depending on the line item, the amount. I guess how often or how much they like working with us. I feel like if you treat them well, they are more negotiable on certain issues. And then finally, documentation, contemporaneous documentation is the end all be all for having a smooth audit. If you don't have documentation, the audit's going to be rough. It's as simple as that.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. All right, Alex, thanks for taking that question for us today.